Hello, my fellow woke brothers and sisters. I am Keisha, and I am the host of the channel Wake Up the Babies. And I know y'all like, why are you filming this and you driving? We can't hardly see you. Well, this is I'm a mom, so this is the only free time that I have. This channel was inspired by my children. In this society we live in, and we are socially woke and socially conscious, so to speak. So a couple of years ago, maybe by the way, I have two teenagers, a boy and a girl, and they are good students. They're A students. They are very, very smart, but they are socially dumb. Can't say no more than that. They just socially unaware and dumb, because I really didn't understand how deep it went until I started to question my children myself. At the time, my daughter, she was maybe 6. Now she's 18. And my son, she was 8 and he was 4. Yeah, that's what it was. She was 8 and he was 4. And one day we were just sitting down in the house and we were talking, and I think Hey Black Child came on some show. I think it was Ellen or something. And my daughter started asking me, she was like, okay, well, I never heard that poem before. And I was like, oh, that's by County Color. You know, he was Langston Hughes' homeboy. She said, who? I said, Langston Hughes, the poet. You know, him and Maya Angelou, all little friends. She said, oh, Maya Angelou, you mean that lady who be in the Tyler Perry movies or something like that, she said. Or something she said about Maya Angelou. And I was like, they did more than that, So I asked them little questions like what they knew, and like different black people that did what stuff that we would have to know in like 1st or 2nd grade. By the way, I'm an 81 baby, so that's back when teachers still gave a damn. I'm not teachers now. I'm not saying anything against y'all. Y'all have to follow y'all curriculum. Y'all don't have a choice. It's a goddamn syllabus. I understand that. But what I'm saying is back then, when they were not over the syllabus and stuff like that, when we still had the right to have a fucking Black History Month, when it still meant something in school, when they would take pride in doing certain projects with us. And I'm just happy the school. I was raised in a small country town. It's very, very small. It's at the bottom of Florida. My graduating class was 350 people, and that was the biggest graduating class in years. So I'm from a very, very small town. So kind of everybody know everybody. Our teachers at the time, they went to school with my sisters and my cousins and stuff like that. So everybody knew everybody, and I'm a special case because I am an African American. I'm African American woman, but my ethnicity is Haitian. But I was raised by African Americans because I'm adopted. So in my small town, I am a myth. And I am proof of the love that black people can have for each other. So I had to really put myself into perspective of what I had been teaching my children. Like, had I been taking the time to sit down and make sure they were woke and aware and they knew what was going on around them. And I felt like some of the stuff was just too heavy at the time to deal with until this whole George Floyd thing. When I had to sit my 15-year-old son down and my 12-year-old nephew, and I had to explain to them why everybody was so upset. Because when I asked them what did they know what was going on, they said to me, oh, some man got killed by the police. And they mad because he choked. So how they were telling it to me, it was like George Floyd was the problem. So I'm like, no, let me explain to y'all what's going on, And I sat down and I had to tell my son how his color weaponized him. How the fact I have dreads. My son has dreads. My daughter is natural. She has a fro. So I had to tell him how his hairstyle and his skin color automatically weaponized him. That was the hardest thing as a black mom I had to do. So then I started to focus on how aware my children were. Over the years, I had taught them so much, about so many different things. We didn't just talk about black culture. We talked about Plato and the allegory of the cave. We talked about Plato and his split apart theory. We talked about so many things. Who was Socrates and Aristotle, and how they came up with the concept of the calendar, and how people thought he was a witch, and they wanted to put him to death for it. There's just so many many things, the Romans and the Greeks, it was so many things that by our teachers having to teach our children to pass a state test. They took the fun out of teaching for teachers. And our children have suffered as a result of it. So this channel is called Wake Up the Babies. Because if we're going to rebuild our culture, we got to start with the little ones to make sure that we educate them and talk to them about different things that even as a parent, we might feel like it's a little too heavy for them to deal with right now. But our kids are raised totally different than we were. We were kind of sheltered a little bit. These little kids got internet, they got cell phones. My 6-year-old daughter had a cell phone. We felt like she needed that. You know, we felt like she needed it. They were raised totally different than how we were raised. And because of that, there are things that we have to deal with now to wake them up now. Before they're 20, 30 years old, 40 years old, and they don't even know who the hell they are. They don't know where they came from. They don't know why these things that we arguing with them about, they're supposed to appreciate so much. Because to them, it's like so little. What are we going off about? But so this channel is called Wake Up the Babies. So we will be doing, excuse me, we will be doing things to wake up the babies. Like it'll be stories on different stuff. Like, okay, first off, my daughter and my son had no idea that we even had a Black national anthem. And my children are AB students. They had no idea what Lift Every Voice and Sing was. I had to teach that to them at home. So they didn't even understand the significance of it until I had to break it down to how hard we had it. And they songs ain't representing what we went through. Their songs ain't representing how we should hold it together. So I had to really deal with it and understand that my kids didn't know. And on top of them not knowing where they came from, how can my babies know where they were going? That's how I felt about the situation. So, all us woke parents, let's go wake up the babies.